Hi, welcome to NYU RoboMaster Team Ultraviolet. We are a hardworking team that competes in the RoboMaster University League with dreams to advance to the University Championship. RoboMaster is a competition at the crossroads of teamwork, engineering, and innovation. This yearly competition culminates in August each year with qualifying events leading up to it. Teams are typically expected to develop 6 projectile launching robots that traverse difficult terrain. We will be competing against teams from other international universities to win matches and advance to the RoboMaster University Championship in Shenzhen, China, at DJI and RoboMaster headquarters. Through this competition, we foster the engineering, computer science, and business principles that each student learns in class. Team Ultraviolet takes on the challenges of RoboMaster by splitting into 5 different sub-teams: computer vision, robot programming, Unity, mechanical, and business. The computer vision team works on detecting enemy robots with automated targeting systems. These students learn the basics of modern computer vision, robotic software tools, and machine learning methods for autonomous detection, tracking, and prediction. The members of this team often utilize collaborative software engineering and research practices. The robot programming team works on the software development on board each robot. This includes controlling the motors, employing test-driven development, and wiring the robots. This helps students familiarize themselves with systems engineering, which can include hardware to communication interfaces, real-time operating systems, and attitude determination. The Unity team works on developing 3D environments to train robot drivers on a virtual competition field. Within the sub-team, students learn Unity development that is akin to game development or virtual reality simulations. The mechanical team works on designing and constructing the robots. This includes modeling each part in computer-aided design programs, manufacturing each part, and assembling them together. Through these practices, students can make their CAD into reality and learn the manufacturing processes behind it. The business team works on fundraising and outreach. These students really shine through social media marketing and creating fun and engaging content for Team Ultraviolet's social medias. On Team Ultraviolet, the metric of success is applying what we learn in the classroom to the field. Whether you're interested in computer science, manufacturing, project management, business, or graphic design, there's something for everyone on Team Ultraviolet. Sign up to be the next MVP.
What a challenge. And what I adore the most, it's really teamwork to realize such projects. And I warmly welcome now Rory. Rory is a student and he learns how to develop robots and he learns how to work in teams. Perhaps, Rory, at first you tell something about yourself and what you are doing at the university and why you are so interested in robots.
Yes, of course. It's very nice to meet you, Heike, and hello to everybody else on the live stream. So my name is Rory. I'm a student from the Netherlands. And aside of my job at the WRO, I also work as a full-time student. I study mechatronics in Delft, which is basically a difficult word for robot. It's a combination of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and also a little bit of software design. So that way we can basically make robots that do all kinds of things. It's focused on optimization of industrial processes, but also really complex robotics.
And how did you get in touch with these robots? Was it a dream from the childhood, or how did you get into contact with this?
Well, yes, I've always been interested in technology, in robotics, even when I was a very young child. And then from middle school, I got in touch with Lego robotics and Lego robotics competitions. And I've competed in those in middle school for quite a while. And that really pushed me towards the robotics side of technology and made me very interested in studying something in that field.
And is there now a project on which you are working for your diploma?
Well, I'm going to be soon. Very soon I need to start on my bachelor's thesis, and then I will be getting my bachelor's hopefully at the end of this study year. But I still need to find a project for that with a company where I will be working with them. So hopefully soon I will have an interesting project to get my bachelor's thesis.
So if a company is listening, Rory is watching for a really interesting project and he will be very happy if you interested in him and his potential. So don't hesitate to write us an email to World Robot Olympiad, and we will get the contact to Rory. Perhaps it helps.
Yeah, that would be very cool. Thank you.
And there is another interesting film of student projects, and we would like to show them to you so that you get an idea how future is planned, because the basis of everything the students does also at the university is making our future better and learning how robots can help us in daily living. So enjoy the film.
My name is Jefferson Hu. I'm a senior in mechanical engineering, and I'm the founder of NYU Aerospace. Those are usually just 3 dudes in the makerspace that we have here. At the time, and still, I think to this day, Tandon does not have an aerospace major. And I was very interested in aero at the time, so I helped them build some rockets. I got certified my freshman and sophomore year, and I kind of used that to kind of platform off and help build the team. Total members across all sub-teams, we had about 75 members. As we grow, we feel more confident, kind of tackling more difficult competitions such as NASA. NASA is one of the bigger ones out there.
We were one of 46 international teams that was selected by NASA to compete, and so I think we are, being a rookie team, we do have a lot of pressure on our hands competing against, teams that have done this numerous years. But I think one of our goals is definitely to come out on top and really do as best as we can in that competition.
Currently, we built the rocket. We're doing all of this. We're doing our testing. So after we just completed that stuff, now it's we're going to actually launch a rocket officially and send the results over to NASA in the coming weeks. Before you even build a rocket, you have to think of the design. You have to worry about what you're building it for. Are you building it for yourself? Are you building it for a competition? Last year, we got 3rd place for Battle of the Rockets for overall design. We do all our designs in OpenRocket and SolidWorks, which is the advanced computer design modeling software. So we use a combination of the both. The fuselage, the payloads, the fins, parachutes, all of that is all done in these different softwares. Once you know what you're going for, kind of the designs, you put it all together, the rocket, you're able to see like the whole airframe, so what we have behind me, so it kind of look like this. And actually building it, you see what parts you need. So some of these rockets behind me are made out of cardboard. Other materials you have used are carbon fiber and fiberglass, such as the red one behind me. So you had to work around using adhesives, using epoxy, type of glue, laser cutting the fins out, 3D printing components for the rocket. The motor in this case is not a mechanical motor, it's the explosives, which is the fuel for the rocket. So all that goes together into building one of these behind me. These energetics always risks of their safety concerns. With rockets, we deal with explosives, with electronics. We don't want to have any electrical fires. So we take a lot of care in mitigating our risks. We always wear personal protective equipment. So when working with shop tools, machinery, we always wear safety glasses, goggles, masks, whatever is needed. So we try to mitigate any types of risk to myself or any of our members on the team.
A lot of the physical manufacturing as well as electronics testing, all of that has to be done in person. Past year with COVID and in-person restrictions, it definitely has delayed us a little bit. I believe that it really is a testament to the grit and really the perseverance of all of us as a team.
I think the biggest challenge that this team faces is the fact that we're in a metropolitan area. Most teams have the luxury of being, in the fields. We have to go upstate.
We're about an hour and a half northwest of school, and then the path train was late, so it was a time. We are flying our Battle of the Rockets rocket from 2020 because of COVID. The competition was cut short. I'm excited that we're launching the rockets today. I feel jazzed.
3, 2, 1.
We're NYU's first and only rocketry team, and we have this kind of program to help people explore aerospace at an introductory level. We accept all years, all majors, all schools. The in-house and training workshop, that's for all new members. So they go through a kind of a workshop series for the first semester where they learn the important skills they need for the team. So we do intro to SolidWorks, intro to OpenRocket, intro to Arduino, and that kind of stuff. And alongside all those workshops, they do an in-house competition to kind of build all these skills, get to our level of technical writing.
It really exposes a lot of students, and I've had the opportunity firsthand to experience a lot of professional software, and so definitely prepares you for the workforce, as well as meeting a lot of great people. So we have networks with people from NASA, from SpaceX, Collins Aerospace, from all these different places that we can, go out and reach out to and ask questions. And I believe just being able to ask good questions, but also being able to have those networks really prepares a student for life after graduation. I think being able to work on, a competition as well as a project of this size while you're still in undergrad and while you still are developing your engineering background is really important, because once you join the work field, once you, get that first job, you may not have people holding your hands. You may not have, the opportunity to make as many mistakes. Berger Aerospace is special to me because it's what I call my second family here at school. I've been able to meet a lot of great friends, and we didn't even dream about being as well known as doing the type of things that we currently do. I think that's really been a privilege of mine. And I think we as a team really have proved successful.
Future engineers just say, oh, this is still going on, still opportunity again, this kind of field, do rocketry, robotics, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, again, a cool video. Rory, do you like to comment it? Explain a little bit what we have seen and what was the challenge for the team.
Yeah, so really cool to see. Obviously, they were building rockets, and obviously you have to think about a lot of different things when you make a rocket. You have to think about the mechanical design. Of course, you can't have it falling apart in the air because that could be very dangerous, but there's also tons of electronics involved to make sure that everything goes right and you can steer it well. You have to think about the aerodynamics. Obviously, there's a lot of fields of engineering that go into making such a rocket that you have to think about. And all these different kind of students have to communicate together. They have to think about the issues together to make a rocket that will actually fly up into space. Very cool.
Oh, okay. But I know, or you told me that you also was part of a competition team, and also your project was very interesting. So what was the target and how does it felt for you to work in such a team? Please tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, of course. So for me, I worked with the Formula Students team, and Formula Students, kind of like Formula One, is a competition where students have to design and build their own race car. And part of the competition that we took place in was the electrical part. So we had to design a fully electrical race car that was supposed to race on different tracks in different places in Europe. And then we would compete against other student teams from other universities. And we'd have to see, how well we designed the car. But another big aspect of this competition is also about the business side. So basically they ask you to run the car and the competition kind of like a business. So as a team, you have to not only think about the car you make and the design of the engineering, but you also have to think about the way you run the business, and you have to find sponsors, you have to do social media management. So we also get students involved from these different kind of places where they study something like business engineering, or maybe they study social media management, and we have to work with them to make a team as a whole that we can present to the judges.
That is to say, you are looking for the students. Do you write emails, or is there a poster? I would like to do a race car. Who would like to work with me, or how do you create the team?
Yeah, that really depends. It depends on each university. For us, we usually had some students that would take part in this as a minor. So as part of their regular study program, you get to some part where you can choose different programs. You can choose to do something that is related to your study, or maybe that is not so much related to it. And this was something that we had a lot of engineering students that were very interested in doing a competition like this. They liked making cars. So of course this is very exciting. But there were also people that were doing business studies that really liked racing and racing cars. And in this way they could still do something for us and for the team that we really needed. And together we had to deliver different things. We had to deliver a technical document to the judges that they could review to see how we designed the car and if everything was safe. But we also needed to deliver them with all kind of business documents. So the way we got sponsors, what kind of deals we made, how did we manage our social media, how did we communicate with our sponsors and with different parties.
So this is really cool. And how many people are in such a team or had been in yours?
Well, with me, the team consisted of about 30 students, so that's quite a lot. But obviously, about 20 of those were actually engineers, and 10 of those were working on the business side of the project. And of those 20 engineers, that was usually divided into different components for the car. So you had a couple of students that were working on the frame. There were a couple of students that were working on the electrical design of the car, and then we had two types. We had a high voltage one, very dangerous for all the power to go really, really fast. And we had a low voltage system that was focused on the control of the car, so the steering, the braking, and other safety parts. There were students that were doing aerodynamics for the car, because obviously that is very important to be able to take corners quickly and to have a car that works well. And then there was people working on the drivetrain and the way the power gets transmitted from the electrical motor to the wheels. So you have to make sure that that works well as well, of course.
But I suppose it was not only this project, you had other lessons. And so how long does it take for such a project? Is it months? Is it years? Do you have to finish at the end of the student year? Tell us a little bit more about the organization of your student life at that time.
Yeah, of course. So, like I said, some students would take this class as a minor, and a minor is something that you do in your regular program, and you usually commit to that full time. So that is also what I did. I spent 40 hours each week for 10 weeks on this project, working on it and spending all my time basically trying to help make this car as good as I possibly could. There are also students that will just take a gap year. So instead of continuing with their studies and following their classes, they will say, no, I want to focus 1 full year on making this car, on entering this competition. So your study will take 1 year longer, but you get this really cool experience in working with other engineers, in working with people that are maybe not technically inclined, and it's very valuable as well to have this experience. So there are also students that do it that way.
Oh, cool, but it really is hard work. And if you count the lessons of each person, at least, and did you succeed at the end?
Well, yes, we kind of did. We got the car working and we did pretty well. We went to a couple of races. Of course, it was very difficult because this was also during COVID times. So we weren't able to go to every race because of COVID restrictions. But we did race in the Netherlands locally. We raced in Germany. We even went to the UK to race. So that was very cool. And there we did pretty well. We were not the best team, but we were also not the worst team. So that's pretty good, I'd say.
And I suppose experience, and this is what every time is also very important to say, and we can't say it enough. Being part of this is the winning already. So being the best might be the dot of the E, for example, but being part of it, you learn so much. And yeah, it's a little bit like team sports. You need to be successful in a team. And what is good, if you have problems in your field, you may ask others. Being a student in such projects may help also for the future. And besides this, what do you study when you do not deal with robots?
Well, besides, of course, all our classes that are about engineering, we also get classes that are not about engineering. So we have to be able to write good reports, obviously. There are classes on that. We have to be able to work in a business, so we also get classes on that. So that's definitely part of any engineering study, is you also have to be able to work with people. You can never do the work alone. Just like in WRO, it is very important that you work together as a team always, so that you can make the best results. And that is something that you need to learn. And especially projects like the WRO or one of these students' teams, they really help any student to learn to work in a team like this. And that is a very valuable experience.
So you work together in a national team. I suppose normally you talk Dutch.
Well, that depends actually, because the university is very international.
Yeah.
Especially in Delft. So there were a lot of students that were not necessarily from the Netherlands.
Oh, cool.
We also had students from Spain, from Colombia, from countries in Asia. So usually we would actually speak English, and all of the official documentation was in English as well. Partly because that needed to be reviewed in English by the judges, but also for a big part because of our communication with each other had to be in English basically. So yeah, it's very international. Basically, any university is.
Yeah, but this is also perhaps for the younger ones of us who are watching us. English and robotic and coding and engineering works together. So without speaking English, it would be difficult. And yeah, we know that English is the language a lot of people can talk. But if you're involved in roboting and in competitions and even in international competitions, it's good to learn English, even if sometimes to learn vocabulary is not so funny. But at the end, if you can explain your robots by yourself and you have enough words to say how enthusiastic you are, it may help. Do you have perhaps an advice for the younger ones who are not quite sure whether they should study engineering or robotics, how they can approach to a final decision?
Yeah, well, definitely, of course. For me, I also had doubts for a very long time what I wanted to do, because there are so many interesting things and so many interesting things to study. So what really helped for me was, at some point I was reading the news and I saw a news report about someone who had developed a robotic arm, a bionic arm. So there was somebody, he had lost the lower half of his arm, and then somebody built him a robot arm that they attached to his body, and he was able to move that just like a normal arm. And he was even able to feel the temperature. So if he grabbed ice, he could feel that it was cold. And when I saw that, something in me went, wow, this is so incredibly cool. And it is so cool to help somebody who had an accident or something in this way. That is what I really want to do. So my tip would be, go out, try and see different things and find something that makes you feel, wow, this is really special and this is what I want.
Okay, then being successful, and this is not only the question in robotics, being successful means, wow, whether you learn languages, you need to say, wow, I can moderate, for example, the World Robot Olympiad. And when I woke up this morning, I was very, very happy to do it. And so this wow feeling, I know what you mean. And I suppose there are a lot of students and children today who lost their wow feeling a little bit. But how did you manage catastrophes? Because I suppose even when you did the job, you failed sometimes. What was your turn to motivate you again?
Yeah, of course. I mean, bad things happen. They always do, and you can't avoid that. So I think the thing about the bad things, and that is what I always try to do, whether it is a group project for my regular studies or whether it was with the Formula Students competition, when something bad happens, in my opinion, it doesn't help to get stuck on the bad thing that happened. What you need to think about is, what can we do now? What can we do that will solve this problem as quickly as possible so that we can continue and still have a good day? And when you think like that and you try to think in solutions rather than problems, that's really helpful to help you just get along. It helps you keep motivated, it helps you keep moving, and that way you can keep going and solve all the problems.
Yeah. So I know that the ones who are in competition now don't listen, perhaps the ones who already competed and they were perhaps not so happy with what they did, but I suppose this is the best thing. And to be honest, in my life, I learned the most from the things where I failed. And failing is winning, because if you fail and you restart and you say, okay, it might happen, the best is I started, I suppose this is a good idea for everything you do in your life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's the rule. Whenever something bad happens, or maybe you lose some time or something like that, that is a valuable learning experience. And that's also how you should think about it. Partly you should think, okay, what can I do? How can I fix this problem? But then later on, when you fix the problem, the other thing you should think about is, how can I prevent this problem from happening again? What can I do to get better so that this problem won't happen again? And maybe sometimes you think the issue is somebody else. Maybe you feel like you couldn't have done anything better. But in my experience, usually there always is something you could have done to help as well. And that is very important, because you can't always change how other people work. Maybe someone forgets their deadline. Well, That can happen, and you can't control that. But what you can do is maybe help them. Like give them a reminder a couple of hours in advance. Hey, did you remember we spoke about this? We had a deadline planned. Are you okay? Can I maybe help you with something if you're afraid you won't get it done on time? And stuff like that can really help, and that way we can really help each other as well.
So Rory is so young, and if you, when you listen to him, you saw he failed and it gave him strength. So please, the ones who are not so satisfied with what they did today, breathe and perhaps change perspective and then restart again. And as we told so often, and we will continue with it, we are all winners being part of World Robot Olympiad final, even online in the pandemic, because also the pandemic in the pandemic it was very difficult to motivate. And I suppose sitting on the screen writing emails was also a lot of time spent the last year for you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a lot of stuff was online, just like this final. And that is what it is. You have to make do with what is possible. But for the teams that are working still right now very hard, probably, because I know the deadline for the first day is coming up very quickly, I want to say to you as well, even if today didn't go perfect, even if your robot didn't score as many points as you had hoped, there are still more options. There are still more days to this competition where you can score well with your robot. So keep going, try to keep working on it, keep motivated. And I know all of you can score. You can score very well because all of you are here at the international final. And that means you must have been very good in your country to be able to participate here. So I believe that even if today didn't go well, if the first day didn't go well, the second day you will have another chance and you will have to go for it.
This is a good idea. And we know, Rory, there will be also a chance in the next year. Yeah. Because at the end of this session on Sunday, we will announce the theme for 2022. And there is again a challenge. And even the ones who didn't get the highest points, perhaps we will see us next year. And Rory can give you comments on what you are doing. And if you want to get into contact with him because he motivates you, write us an email, and I suppose Rory will be very, very happy to answer you. Perhaps not today, tomorrow, and Sunday, and perhaps not next week, because World Robot Olympiad final really is a lot of work even for Rory, and we are very happy that he is with us. But don't hesitate, be a little bit patient, write us your questions and Rory will answer them. So Rory, thank you very much for motivating us. Thank you very much for telling us a little bit about your student life. And again, if there is any company who says, okay, Rory would be a good person in our team, don't hesitate to contact World Robot Olympiad. And besides this, also for all the companies, watch our competitions. And I suppose you will, as we are, will be very happy about what even pupils can do. And pupils who are so interested in robotics, I'm quite sure they also may choose it as for their studies, and at least you have employees with heartbeat. So World Robot Olympiad is also good for finding the right persons for the right jobs. Thank you very much, Rory.
Yes, thank you, Heike. I love being here. I love being with everyone here from the WRO and online, all of the teams that are competing. It's very cool to see all of the teams trying their hardest, making good robots. And I just love being here in the competition. Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And competing is the word. We are competing the whole day long, not me, but with our hearts. Me and the team of the World Robot Olympiad is with us. And I know that competitions may be difficult, but to help you and to get an idea what is happening, I'm very happy that Christoph is with me. I forget that there are some hints. I welcome him.